Great. Do you hear me now? Better? No. Okay, but I'm accustomed to teach to many students, so I will manage. And I think that my presentation fits very nicely with the one we had with Jorun, that explained her really fantastic work in trying to understand how food meals are implemented, the regulation or the guidelines are implemented in Norway. I just wanted to shortly have not a presentation about myself, but more a presentation of where I come from. I am from Oslo, the OsloMet University, where we have a group working with public health nutrition. We have a master in public health nutrition and a research group in public health nutrition, where our aim is just to work in, like in promoting healthy diets and sustainable diets among the population. And of course, schools are among the main targets. And all over the years, we have done some studies. Mostly we have done some small studies related to our master's thesis that have been focusing on schools and school meals. One is the subject called SENS, Environmental Determinant of Dietary Behaviors Among Adolescents. It's mostly in lower secondary schools. We are working with the Nes municipality, which is also in northern part of like the Oslo region, where we work with trying to understand school meals and implementation guidelines. One of our students has been doing like an exploratory study before the piloting of the this large studies done by the public health institute. And then we are cooperating in evaluating some pilot studies done on school meals done by the Oslo municipality. So we can also say that, as you have heard, I mean, you ask how many are not Norwegian here. I can ask the same questions. Yeah, so there is a large group, which, well, not a group that is not Norwegian here. For all the people that are Norwegian, we know that school meals have been on the Norwegian political agenda for a long time. So I tried for this presentation to go back and try to find out where the debate on school meals started. Of course, we had school meals in a certain period of time, as we, I'll come back to there, but now we don't have, as you well know now, we don't have a kind of state-regulated school meals. And I tried, this was 2011, when it was, yes, we want warm school meals. And here is some more recent, where there is some, where that finally seems that we are coming to implementation of some school meals. But there is not something that is regulated. And this is kind of interesting, given also the tradition of Norway as a welfare country, welfare state country, and it's also interesting if we see that in kind of the school meals is very high in the EU policies for health and for having a better lifestyles among the population. So there are many research that's been done at European level, and they're trying to map the kind of school meals that exist. And of course now I have a picture that is kind of overlapping, but we try, in a way there was in this country like France, Italy, and Portugal, and I think it was the Netherlands. We have some kind of there is a state regulation about school meals. While in other countries, among others, Denmark, is the only thing that happens at a local level. So my main question here is, why is it difficult to change meal practices in Norwegian primary schools? And here I come with what I call a contribution of a sociological perspective. As I told you, I am working at public health nutrition, but in my education, I'm a sociologist. So I try to contribute to public health nutrition with a sociological perspective. So, and here I want to present one thing that I often discuss with my students, which is called a theory of practice, which is a theory that I will try to see it in a very simple way, but it's the way I think that can be our way as a sociologist to try to answer to this kind of question about why it is difficult to implement the school meals in Norway. Start what it is, a practice is still the process of consumption. So practices we think about as routines, about how we think things are and how we kind of related to them. I think that most of us have been having a cup of coffee this morning. When they wake up in the morning, you don't think very much having a coffee or a tea, you did like automatic. It's a part of waking up, is to take a cup of coffee and enjoy your paper if you can. So you think a practice is a routinized type of behavior which consists of several elements interconnected to one another, forms of bodily activity, like drinking a coffee, forms of mental activities, I enjoy my coffee, things and I use, the cup I use, a background knowledge in the form of understanding, know-how, states of emotion, and motivational knowledge. So that, in a way, is part of my understanding of waking up in the morning. Hero practice are often used to understand why we do what we do, but can also be understood in try to kind of capture the way of things can be and things can be changed. The important things with hero practice is that all the things that we are talking that have been described here are interconnected with each other. So, for instance, we can talk about meanings and social norms and rules. They are also related to things, material, environment, and infrastructures, and then can be related to skills and competence and this embodied part of doing things. And so, in a way, it is necessary that changes happen at all these levels and in these parts, and you can also think that changes in one of these parts can have influences on other parts. It's a more like a systemic also perspective that is used. And I will try to see how this can apply to the case of school meals in Norway. So I start with the meanings, rules, and understandings. So in a way, we have heard so much about the school meals. Are they so important? They're so good. Children be more intelligent and so on, or more quiet, more happy, and not obese, and so on. But so can we really say school? So we can say school lunch are good, but is matpakke best? Matpakke is the traditional bread and spreads that the children have at school. And here we have had a social anthropologist in Norway called Runar Døving, so he has made his fortune in talking about the matpakke. He is a matpakke sociologist, and he, in a way, say that matpakke is so much part of the Norwegian identity and culture, which has, in a way, is a part of being a Norwegian. And in a way, in a sort of way, we have kind of in talking with people, in talking with teachers and with the students, we have to have kind of confirmation about the importance of the matpakke. For instance, when we talk about with the teacher, they say, well, in this class, everybody has the matpakke. In this way, they make the distinction between the classroom where everybody has the matpakke and the other where they don't have it. It's a kind of judgmental thing. This is an all right classroom because everybody has a matpakke. Also, students try to make a kind of moral judgment about who is bringing the matpakke and not. Like the people that are sporty, the one that go and train 3 times a day, they are those with the matpakke. Then there is always someone that has never had the matpakke. And again, we also, this judgmental part is, this teacher was also talking very much about what is in this lunchbox or in this matpakke, and about the children, they take the healthy one, and the other ones they take maybe some sweets or a cake or chocolate, like in this case. So matpakke is a very important thing in the Norwegian society, Norwegian culture, for distinguish, in a way, we can say the right from the wrong, the right children and not the so right one, the good families that take care about the children and not. So, in a way, so we have to try to think about meanings and rules and understanding and how this can be eventually be changed. Second part is about things, material, environment, and infrastructure. So we can also think that many of the school breaks in Norway are kind of modeled around the fact that we have the matpakke. So we think, for instance, to the fact that we have 20 minutes break, the guidelines, which not always are respected at 20 minutes. You can also imagine what can you eat in 20 minutes. Is someone from Southern Europe here? So I'm actually from Italy, but you never thought about the fact that in 20 minutes you can go to a cantina and have a three-course lunch, as many of the kids that living in Milano, the county where I'm from, can eat. So is the 20 minutes is kind of convenient for having a sandwich that you can eat. We have also seen that in many schools, they have refurbished the school from 97. This was renovated in the last years. They did, sorry, they didn't make any changes. They could improve the fact that kids could eat their meals together. So this is also structural things. The kids have to go out. And then, again, most of the kids have to eat if someone can immediately can have a glass of water somehow. So and then we have that the kids, most of the kids have to have their matpakke in the classroom. Thank you. It was very nice of you. So in a way, we might think very much about the structure and how the structure actually is complementary with the idea of a matpakke. Then the third part was skills and competencies. So how we have this, who is in charge of doing the meals for the kids. And here we also have seen that there is great variation. And this was part of the kind of mapping of what is happening in the schools. And also, as Euron told us, there is very much variation about who is, what is happening in the school. The kids or the teacher doesn't talk to each other. You don't know what the other school is doing. And when we have tried to mapping what the meals in the schools, we have seen that there was very, very big differences. There was some school that had hired a chef for the lunch or breakfast, and others where there were the children that were in charge. And of course, this has also some kind of consequences on the quality of the food. And we also find out that a lot of parents and also pupils didn't really trust the food that was served at the school. They thought the hygiene was not very good. They didn't really know who has been making the food, what has been put. And as you see, many of the schools have to use like kitchen like the one we have at home. Very simple ones that were not really equipped for making food for many. So, almost concluding. And it is, thank you. So, what we also in where we can see that, thank you. There you go. Thank you. School meals can be seen in Norway, can be seen what is called a weak practice, something that is not really rooted in the norms and in a way of doing things. We see that very much they are locally driven. So there are very differences in the school. Maybe there is a teacher that is very, very much engaged and do that. They're often project driven. So the schools get money for the project for a certain period of time, and then we don't know what happens. There is very much diffuse responsibility. We don't know who is in charge. And there is a variation in the quality. As I say, there is not a routine. And then often the matpakke practice is the one more common. Or maybe sometimes it's going out and to the mall and buy some sweets. So I wanted to leave you with this question. I'm not going to answer, but it's what is needed to change the current practices and institutionalize school meals and make something that actually can exist. And here is a picture from a very old, it's called Oslo Frokost, Oslo breakfast, which was actually, still everybody that is from Norway know about the Oslo breakfast, as maybe parents or grandparents had done it. And that was very much rooted in our way of understanding what is a
healthy meal and how food could be provided at school. So that's it. And now the time has gone. I don't know why he's not showing it, but I wanted to thank you. And of course, I want to thank you, the student that participated to this study, and my colleague, Livia.
Thank you very much.